Thanks everyone for joining me. My name is Kevin Onyango, and I'm the founder of Mtandao Varsity. The platform talks about soft skills or those characteristics or behaviors that attract one to employment or opportunities. Today, I am not alone. Today, I am with Professor Bitange Ndemo. Professor, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
And that's for being here. I've got to tell the viewers that it was very easy to deal with you. I wrote it to you and you replied. So thank you very much.
Thanks. You must reply to your emails.
But it doesn't happen all the time, Professor, isn't it? I mean, people like you are very busy. And because of that, it's very hard to reach you.
No, it's never been hard to reach me, anybody.
Well, I'm here with you. Thank you very much. And Professor, I mean, the reason why I contacted you is that lots of universities nowadays, they produce lots of students, but are unemployable. Is that a fact? Do you agree to that?
It's a fact, and we are not going to change very soon because it requires a meticulous planning to change the systems. Changing even a course, it takes several months. We need to overhaul the system, and we need to do it across the continent. I must say that in Kenya, they have tried to change to what is called competence-based learning.
Curriculum. So
it is very critical to what you are talking about.
So when you say it's not going to change, then that's not good news for employers then?
Of course, yes. We need, I've been talking to several policymakers. We had a conference in Kigali with ministers of education across the continent. I don't think anybody is in a hurry to change the systems. And we have not marketed those skills that would provide employment. I'm talking skills like the TVETs. In Africa, TVETs are considered places for failures. In the Western world, it's a place where you need a skill to get employment. So we are still very far apart.
Wow, well, this is interesting. So allow me to talk about soft skills particularly, and I want us to address the fresh graduates. Right now, people are at their homes, written their CVs, they're sending applications to each and every company. So what do you tell them?
We actually need people like us to begin schools like schools for soft skills. When I finished my undergraduate in the US, one of the before we graduated courses that we did was on how to interview, simply how to dress up, how to respond to questions. We don't do that. We don't prepare our students for life after college. How do you take an interview? A simple question that most people are asked is, how much salary do you want? And almost 100%, they say anything you can offer, meaning that you are desperate. You will never find a job if you seemed or looked desperate to get that job. You must also come with some qualities which are bargainable.
Well, goodness, okay, let's go back a bit. Let's talk about appearance, for instance. Like, I went to school in Kenya. Actually, I went to Daystar. That's my first degree. And I do not remember at any point being told how we should dress up. In fact, it was a problem. There was a particular lecturer, and who I'm going to mention, and he used to tell us, before you go to his class, you must be in a tie. And lots of students do not appreciate that. So what's the importance of appearance here? You as a person with experience.
Appearance is very critical. And we had an argument the other day. If your son came to tell you that I want to have a tattoo on my on my places where somebody can see. I'm not saying the wearers of tattoos are crazy people, but it sends a very wrong message to the person interviewing you. Most people in office work do not wear, for example, rasta. I know it is an expression, it's independent, it's supposed to you, but if you prove yourself, if you prove yourself as a top engineer globally, you can wear your hair the way you want it. You can put tattoos even in front of your nose, and nobody would care. But when you are a nobody trying to be somebody, you must present yourself in a standard way. The standard way is that you must look what the organization wants to hire.
Well, people normally use, for example, the Facebook founder that he always just wear shirts, just t-shirts, and you find lots of motivational speakers saying appearance doesn't matter. What matters is what you have here. So that's a philosophy.
Can you look at how Zuckerberg looked before he succeeded? That is where you find, you can go to Google and Google Zuckerberg, and you would see when he used to wear suits and when he stopped wearing suits. Even Microsoft founder, he never wears a tie now. He has made it. He doesn't have to show anybody. He doesn't have to, you know, but I can't dress like that and look for a job. But if I succeeded exceedingly, I can do what I want to do.
Right. I suppose it depends on, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, if you see this British guy who owns an airline,
Richard Branson?
Richard Branson, you have never seen him in a tie. He doesn't need to wear a tie. But the people wearing ties can hug him or kneel down in front of him because he has actually made it.
Yes.
So people like the top basketball players who have earned so much money, they can color themselves the way they want because they have succeeded. So
Right.
you can't come out of high school and say I'm wearing a Rastafarian and if I am not hired, I'm discriminated. That's nonsense.
Well, I was going to give an example with this football player called Lionel Messi, and he had gone to Gabon, and he was wearing a shorts and a t-shirt, and people were like, he doesn't have respect, but he's made it. Well, listen, I don't talk about most about appearance, but how about critical thinking? Again, this is one of those soft skills that those people who seek for employment don't really appreciate. That employers want people that can make decisions, people that can have a stand, and it is lacking. And I want to use Kenya as an example, where critical thinking is seen as you're being a rebel. What do you say about that? And how can one grow that skill with the critical thinking skill?
We must do something I call culture 2.0. We shift from our cultural practices to culture that encourages critical thinking. Why? Because we are born into a paternalistic society. What the man says, it goes, whether you like it or not. If you are still staying with your father, you don't question that. That is where the problem begins. It moves on to shutting out women. Even if they had a solution to take us to Mars, you kill it because culture dictates. So we need to challenge culture and say we must shift from where we have locked ourselves in to culture 2.0. Culture 2.0 is respecting everybody, whichever way they think. Because when I teach innovation, creativity and innovation, And one way of being very creative is to do brainstorm. And when you are brainstorming, some people say stupid things. You don't stand up and say that is stupid and make judgment about it. You accept it and try to figure out how did he come up with that. Maybe he said and skipped one step before you could understand that process. So that is changing cultural practices that we have ourselves. That is where the problem is.
I like the idea of culture, and I want to evolve around there. And now, for those that are just joining us, this is the Mtandao Varsity School of Soft Skills, and today I'm talking to Professor Bitange Ndemo. Professor, well, when you used to work for the government, and in your ministry it was about information, computer information, people that you used to employ or used to work with, did they come to you because they've got the skill in communication, or you're looking for people who are personable as well?
I never sought to change even one staff. I know most people used to walk into an office and they want to change. I want somebody who comes from my tribe. I want somebody here. I used a theory a theory by somebody called Lewin. It's called Lewin's theory of change, which means that you can mold anybody to what you want. Meaning that the first time I meet you, I am not confrontational with you. Because you've been there, I would ask you as an expert. You have been in this ministry, I don't know anything, I need your help. It actually makes the other person to feel good about you and embarrassed to do something that is not proper. That's what I used and brought everybody into a circle where we can talk. That is Lewin. He said there are 3 stages. One is when you allow somebody to access you, meaning that the discussion with that person is such that you are able to attract that person to that level. And then slowly you begin to say, this one I don't like, when you are brought into the discussion. And then you begin to put your rules and then you zip it. Everybody has those skills. Otherwise, nobody would get married or be married. Because when you are courting a lady, you try to be nice. If she says you are foolish, you say you might be right, and you don't fight that. But you are waiting to get her to a level where she can like you and you move forward. That's precisely what Lewin was talking about.
I like, so carry on.
The same stuff, different results.
I like that analogy of coaching and work with people. So when you talk about molding, if I may put this to you, so is mentoring overrated?
Mentoring, everybody says I want to be mentored, but they don't know what they want to be mentored about. Because I don't know, if you say I want to be mentored as a business person, then my mind is prepared in that. I want to be mentored in life, that's a different way. There is no general mentoring. But for somebody who wants mentorship, you can learn from others by seeing. Actually, animals learn that way, by imitating what their parents or the older ones do, which is actually perfect mentoring. And before, if you look at a leopard, I think you must have watched Animal Planet.
Yes.
A leopard mentors its a cub to the first day it can kill by itself. And once it has done that, it goes forever, never to come back. We don't do that as human beings. We don't do that as human, and yet you need to allow. You need to allow.
You're a very busy man.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's a very informal setup, so please answer if you can.
Yes, animals are very good. Even lions, they train their young ones to the extent they are independent. We need to begin to do that. And when you are independent, I should leave you without interventions. That's where we go wrong.
So is it young people, or is it people with experience that get it wrong? So for example, when I come to you that, Professor, I want you to mentor me, so I should know exactly what I want. So you should not.
I could tell you, I could simply tell you, watch me. And by watching me, you could either learn good things or bad things. If I told you the phone is ringing and tell you to pick it up and say I'm not there, that is wrong mentoring. But if I said bring it and I say I'm sorry I can't speak or I can't do this, that is the right thing. That you'd rather say the truth than lying. But 90% of the time we lie in front of our children.
Well, this is very interesting. Look, you and I want to say we're a bit privileged because, well, you went to school in the Western country, went to the States, went to school in England. And I want to ask about your experience yourself. What you're telling me now here, did you experience that in school, in college? Like, did you learn about soft skills in college, or how did you? At what extent do you think people should learn this? And I'm talking about in context where you went to school, in college, and reflecting in Kenya.
Actually, you learn throughout. We should say we are very lucky we live in this time. We are very lucky we live in this time. I am a slow reader. And so every time I picked a book, it took me 2-3 days to finish. But nowadays, books are on audio platform. You get a book, within 4 hours, you've gone through the book. If you want mentorship today, and you can get it for free from free audiobook on YouTube, and see the experiences people go through. Meaning you do not have to have a human in terms of mentorship. You can learn from so many books out there about failure and success. But you want everything to be condensed and somebody keeps on spoon feeding you. I can give you 20, 30 books which you would read and completely change your life.
Wow, but I mean, that's all good. It sounds very good to the ear, but is that very practical? And again, I'm talking to people that are seeking opportunities, Professor, here. Again, right now, like with the effects of COVID now, lots of people are losing their jobs. So people that are looking at jobs right now, we cannot tell them, you go and read books and then learn kind of soft skills. Can we do that?
So I tell young people, and I want you to do this exercise, you go on Google and say, data analytics jobs in Kenya. There are more than 5,000, which have been there for 6 months. Nobody can be hired because we don't have the right skills. And I've told them, IBM has got a free program. They will teach you for 3 months. You are able to do this job, which you cannot apply. If you have money, you can pay a little to MIT. They have a very good program. 3 months, you get a certificate. You don't only do local jobs. There are millions of jobs which are online, the gig economy. 70% of our graduating students cannot tell you what gig economy is. And that is where we are supposed to be. Meaning we have a problem with respect to current affairs. You can't talk about soft skills. One of the best soft skills is to understand what is happening currently.
Knowledge, yes.
Yes, because the past question I would ask you, what do you think about the economy? And you say, oh, our economy is doing so well. And everybody knows COVID has actually affected every economy. Then you know this person has got no idea where they are standing.
Wow. So again,
It's not,
that's, so carry on.
yeah,
Please carry on.
you've got, there is what they say, no pain, no gain. Even if I wanted to mentor you, if you are not able to do the necessary to succeed, you cannot succeed.
Wow. So I usually try to avoid the word politics, but I've got to mention here because we talk about knowledge. Lots of people are looking at newspapers nowadays as it's a propaganda tool, or people don't read the newspaper anymore. Like, as you say, most young people.
It's not the newspaper. It's not the newspaper. It's just that if you are concerned, nowadays actually it's not the newspaper, because the mobile handset you have can give you more than news, more than enough news you need. If you are interested, ask 90% of our fourth year students, what is our GDP?
Well, in Swahili, lugha ya mtaani pale, usually use what
Even if you ask the people, are we in does our income fall within what income bracket? Is it low income? It is whatever. People don't know. You must be concerned about the basics around yourself. It's just like you live in a house, you don't know whether it has a sitting room or a bedroom.
Well, listen, I shouldn't be laughing, but so what do you tell people? You must have met this kind of people where they spend 10 years looking for employment. You know, people that have, I know you're talking about at PhD level as well, Professor here. 10 years looking for employment. So is it their fault then?
That is wrong.
So is it their fault?
That is wrong. If you actually don't, let me tell you my story. I after my undergraduate in finance accounting, I did MIS for masters, which was very marketable in the US. I got jobs. I was senior systems analyst. I came back here. Nobody had heard of what an MIS person will do. Nobody, even the banks, which I thought none. So I decided this is nonsense. I can't wait. I would rather sell vegetables. Started exporting beans to Europe and other things. I was paying for rent in Kileleshwa, 12,000 a month. That's what I used to pay. I mean, that's like middle income at like 1990s. Somebody whom I used to give money from the sale of vegetables went to the village and told people that this guy probably never went to school because he's selling vegetables. And you know how vernacular it sounds. It sounds very bad, that I'm like Mama Mboga in the cities. So my mom loved me so much, came and said, you are embarrassing us. You can't sell vegetables. So that's how I had to apply at the university and look like I went to school. Yeah.
So did you stop that? Sorry, I mean, I'm sure I can find this in your books, but did you stop?
Of course, it was difficult because the university wanted me to go do a PhD. That's how I went to England to study for a PhD, so that I can become relevant in the academia. So
But it worked for you.
I messed up. I messed up where I was comfortably earning and went into poverty because university could not pay rent in Kileleshwa.
Wow. Allow me to go back. So are you saying sometimes in relation to soft skills, family can make or break someone?
but it's not the pressure you get from peers and family. If
So
if you know what you want and do it, eventually they will come to agree with you. I wish I continued that way, but I didn't want to annoy my mom, so I went the direction where I could look like somebody mtoto yake amesoma, anafundisha university,
yes,
all those colors, and which don't pay.
but Professor, it worked for you though. You became a CS in the end.
No, I mean, I'm saying probably I'll be Bill Gates.
Well, I won't ask how much you're worth, but I'll keep quiet. But
Yeah.
let's go to that pressure point, and that's again, I'm speaking here as to young people.
The point is that do things for yourself,
even if it doesn't pay,
not for other people.
So someone that's looking for employment that says nipatie kitu chochote tu mimi nafanya. Are we saying that's not
the conclusion I was going to come with that? When you are doing something and you come in front of me to interview and say, I've been selling vegetables and a living, I would hire that person than someone who would say, I've never gotten a job, I've been out of work for 10 years and I'm still looking.
So what do we tell people that are at home right now saying I'm looking for employment and this is their third year in the house?
You've got to do what you can do. The gig economy has grown so big that one of my students, she's in third year now, he has hired so many people to work in the gig economy. How can you work for someone there for 2 years without noticing that you can actually do it yourself? So it has to be you going, getting the job and giving the other ones. You should know that you can do it for yourself. But I am happy with Kenyans. They have done so well that they do a lot of exams for Europeans and Americans.
Well, talking about that, Professor, I mean, I can stay here the whole evening, just listen to you. But in your university right now, where you are teaching, you guys don't talk about soft skills. So you're in the system right now. And you told me about, some of the forums you're having with the other colleagues in Eastern Africa, for instance. But at the university where you are right now, you don't talk about soft skills.
I talk to my students. Even now, I'm going to teach. I talk to them, and this is out of. I just do it because I want to do it. So I talk to students. Yeah.
But you've got influence. So why wouldn't you make University of Nairobi, wherever you are teaching, to include soft skills in the curriculum?
You should know how the university is structured from the Commissioner of Higher Education, whatnot, and everything. So I used to have seminars to talk about this. We also have a program we bring Mama Mboga to university to teach them on some skills. When we had a crisis in March last year that people were not buying vegetables from them, we taught them how to use WhatsApp, take pictures, send to customers order, then they send borders to drop the vegetables. What that tells you, whether you are big or small, you've got to be IT first in order to survive. So they understood, they began to teach others. So small interventions become so big.
Right, so we cannot blame system forever. It has to be individuals' effort as well.
I told you it took me 3 months here. I said I will not go to the 4th month. I must do something. And that's how I started the business for vegetables. So if you come here and say, I have no job, I think I've got to die, there is a lot to be done. There is a lot to be done. There is so much money. because we have so many problems. That is what we say in entrepreneurship, where there is problems, the other side is opportunity that needs to be exploited. That's why people come from Silicon Valley to create solutions here, and they work out of here to make money out of them. So we need our people to exploit the problems and make them into opportunities. That's what I was writing and said, if government stays out of the way, yeah, and said we are going to have a tax system that encourages people to become competitive globally. Yeah, tax is where they do that. We are going to privatize energy sector so that we can have efficient supply of energy. This country will be rich and the people will be rich. But we have a problem. We don't even know those who want to live where they belong. You are in the UK.
Yeah.
Yes, you are in the UK. You saw Corbyn talking about socialism, that we must empower employees not to be exploited by employers, just like masters exploited slavery, or feudalists exploited the people and made themselves. So he came out and spoke. Everybody knew what he will do. And the other guy said, this is nonsense. We have to have a capitalist system. Here, it is random. We don't know tomorrow what decision they make, or the day after what decision is made. You remember, I don't know whether you were here, Baki, by the way. Baki said government would not borrow locally. We did not borrow locally. What happened? The banks were setting up kiosks on the roads to lend to citizens.
Yes.
Even the rates came down. That's how the economy grows. That's how the economy grows. But here we're in a rut right now.
Well, as I know we've got to end this, but I cannot finish by asking you. Well, you once yes at a particular point, Professor Ndemo, and as a CEO that has level cabinet secretary, so clearly you are sitting next to the president, you make a decision. So are you saying this kind of stuff you don't talk in your meetings? I mean, listen, we don't know what happens in the cabinet meetings, but you as a person has been there. I know we are debating a bit now, but are you saying you don't discuss this in those meetings at the high level?
In Kibaki's time, yes, Kibaki delegated. Kibaki will tell you, I don't know anything about roads. I don't know anything about ICT. You go do it and do it right. Didn't you see roads all over the place? Didn't you see fiber optics landing and other things?
Yes.
You can't, at the top level, micromanage people and hope they would work. That is lack of trust. And unless you are trusted, you can't do your best.
So you are telling us right now, in the public forum right now, people are listening to us, that during your time with President Kibaki, you are talking about issues that affect the economy. You're talking about these things you're talking about right now.
Actually, because we had something called the National Economic and Social Council.
That's right.
Which had academia, which criticized some of the programs, and he did not take it personally. He actually adopted those programs. You must link academia to government and the private sector. That's how it works. We do research, we provide to government provides policy, and the private sector implements. That's what I'm trying to say.
I have last two things I'll talk to you about, but I've got to ask this as well. Is your phone ringing nowadays then?
Well, you actually create new friends as you grow.
That is true. So is your phone, when you left the government?
It rang, you had it ringing.
So it is ringing nowadays.
Immediately you leave, nobody calls you because you actually need to work harder and get new friends.
Well, listen, I mean, your story is very inspiring. And again, for those that are listening to us, this is Mtandao Varsity School of Soft Skills. And today I'm talking to Professor Bitange Ndemo. Well, last part of this show, Professor, is so people actually, when I talk to people about soft skills in Kenya, not just in Kenya, actually, in most of countries that I go to, I've been very fortunate to visit quite a number, mostly in Africa. People think soft skills, after somebody told me once that soft skills is a waste of time. I want somebody that has got hard skills. If I want a doctor, I want a doctor. I don't care about soft skills. What do you respond to that?
You must have been drunk, the person who said that, because even a doctor, by the way, what heals you is what comes out of the mouth of a doctor. You look good. You are going to make it. What if a doctor who knows hard skills and knows soft skills comes and says, "I've never seen anybody who has survived what you have." Um, you will not recover. You will not recover. You are dead. So you need somebody with soft skills who talk, even in your own home. If you don't have soft skills as the owner and you keep on shouting at your staff at home, they would actually stay still and wait for you to give directives.
So they would be very innovative because they are waiting to be told what to do.
Yes,
So
that's how it is.
So, from your experience, what would be the top 3 soft skills you think that young people should have?
The top 3, one thing I say is listening. It's free, but it's very important. And when you listen, and if you don't understand, you would rather ask, "Can you please repeat the question?" so that you fully understand. Because we rush to making responses thinking we are doing it proper, and you say something stupid, and then it messes your life completely because of the way you are. So, and respecting others. This is a very small thing, by the way. Like, I meet you, I should actually say, "It was nice." A small note. "It was nice talking to you. I felt good." You will never forget that. You know, uh, just simple compliment. You know, we forget. So we even forget to say thank you. Even when an interview goes badly, you turn around and say, "I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity." You find the others never said thank you and say, "This is a trainable guy. We actually need this person. We actually need this person." Communication is very difficult, by the way. Very, very difficult. But it means everything to your success. And it falls within those soft skills.
Wow. I mean, I can't agree with you enough. And in fact, there's something that you just told me that when I spoke to PLO Lumumba, also was here the other day. And one of the things he said that young people don't know how to argue amicably, or people do not agree to argue. And mostly if you go online right now, the way people talk to each other, it's shambolic, really. And that's what we take to the real life as well. Well, last question from me, Professor Ndemo. Can people be taught soft skills?
Well, it's good to talk about them. It's good to talk about soft skills. Then people quickly, as I told you, we are animals. We learn by seeing what's happening. If I told you, "Thank you, I hope we see you again," and you are watching and you see the other's reaction, chances are the eighth person will repeat that.
Well, somebody will say that Tanzanians are usually very polite, but if you look at the economy and Kenya, it's a bit different story.
No, if you see, actually, good you say Tanzanians. I don't know whether you have listened to the new president.
The lady, that's, so carry
Yes,
on.
I think she's going to be a revolutionary.
That's
I think
interesting.
so. Yes, because of what the decisions, she has reversed what her boss used to say
Yes,
so,
yes,
so politely, without being confrontational,
yes.
respecting the other person and saying ni lazima tufuate utafiti ndio tusiwe tunajitenga ulimwenguni. That's direct opposition to what the former president was saying. But the way she has said it, everybody agrees, yenyewe, this is true. She would have chosen to say the late person was useless. How could he say this and the people are dying? Still, a lot of people would have clapped, but she
That's
has listen to this. Tanzanians are more reserved, want to do things in a way, in different ways. And then she comes and says, if we want to succeed, we need to attract investors. And if we want to have investors, we must give them the visas. We must allow them to bring a few of their workers. You see, previously they used to say, lazima waajiri wa Tanzania, you know, and everybody did lock out, and then there was no investment. Now you are going to see investment flowing to Tanzania, no foreign direct investment, and even in Kenya, because of the way she has presented herself to the world.
so. Look, I want to end this, but when you talk about things, some just come to mind right now. So, are we saying that people in public and allow me to use a politician? If you open to a television, if you open to a TV right now, the first face you will see will be a politician. So, are we saying public figures are letting down young people when it comes to soft skills, and they are the reasons why perhaps we don't know how to look for employment?
You know what? Almost 90% you learn from your parents, from your relatives, from your leaders, you know, without being taught, you know. If people see that in order to succeed as a politician, to steal money and use the money, everybody would work towards that. If we discourage that, it would change the entire of the economy. We will never talk about corruption.
So, who is the problem then?
The problem is, I told you we need culture 2.0. To imagine today, if this happened, if you stole money, public resources, and you walk into a church and everybody moves away from the bench you are sitting, do you think anybody would steal again? It won't happen because we are social animals. We want to be loved. And what people love is what we choose. Now, what do? The person who has stolen and brought money to the church gets the most comfortable seat in the church. And every young person envies them. So what the actions speak more louder than the words.
I'm going to end this show by putting you on the spot. So
yes.
When you are cabinet secretary, you never stole anything.
I could be driving a four-wheel or what you call an SUV. I could turn this and show you what I drive. Everybody knows what I drive.
So I've lost Professor Ndemo there.
No, I am here.
Oh, there you are. Well,
yes.
Listen, I cannot thank you enough for your time. And I've got to tell the viewer that I've never met you. You know, we all communicating online and you responded to me. And again, those people that are talking about they know employment, internet works. I've spoken to Professor Ndemo.
Yeah.
Look, Professor, I want to thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you for hosting, for gracing my show. I'm extremely grateful, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.